So now we've got a way to create our token. So what we want to do now is pass it to the user so that they can send it back on future requests to authenticate themselves on any protected routes. Now the canonical way of passing a JSON Web Token is to add it as an HTTP header. And a header is basically metadata that you can attach to a request or a response. Now you could also add the token to the body of the request or response, or even attach it as a cookie, but the method we're going to be using is doing it as a header. So we're going to add the token to the login endpoint, which is an endpoint that we're going to be creating later in this module. But for now, we also want to add it to the registration endpoint so that when someone registers, they straight away get a token they can start using. So to add the header, let's chain an additional method in the response in the create user method, which is our registration method. So we're going to go .header, and the header method takes two arguments. The first is the key of the header, which is going to be authorization in this case, and the value is going to be bearer with a capital B followed by a space and then the token. So I'll just put a random token in there for now. So before we put the real token in there, you may be wondering, why do we name the header authorization and why do we have to put this bearer thing before the token? It's mainly just for legacy reasons. So we do it that way because that's how it's generally done. Now you don't need to do it this way. You could name the header something different. You could not include that seemingly pointless bearer thing at the start. But I think it's best to do it the sort of standardized way, because as you'll see when we add a front end, authentication libraries usually will expect by default for the token to be in this kind of format. And if we use another format, even though it may seem simpler, it means we're going to have to configure our client authorization a little bit differently. So we're going to do it like that. All right, so now we need to get a real token and add it to the header. So to do this, just up here, after we've saved our user, we're going to create a constant token, and we're going to await the output of this new instance method that we just created in the last video, generate auth token. So now what we can do is turn our header value into a template literal, and we can remove that dummy token and put in the variable token like that. Coming over to Postman now, let's rerun the post users request that we recently created. First, we're going to make sure we've got a unique email address here, or we'll get a 400 error. So let's go ahead and send that. And as you can see, we get the body, in the body we get the user back and we can see the token, but more importantly, if we click on the headers section and we see we've now got this authorization header here, and then we've got bearer, and then we've got a real live JSON Web Token attached to our response there. So that's pretty cool.